Greetings and welcome, citizens of Basenji, to a new Let's Play series. Welcome to Let's Play Rogue State Revolution. Right. So this is a sponsored Let's Play because I got a key from developers. I have no restrictions on me on what I can say about this and when I can upload it. So let's just have the official bit out of the way. What to say about this? This is a turn-based simulation of a nation. A Middle Eastern nation has recently deposed their king, had a bit of a transitional government with a glorious leader at the head, and is now transitioning into a democratic state, sort of. And you have been elected to lead it. Can you do it? This presents obvious difficulties and challenges that are numerous. Now, let's just hedge this a little bit. This game is still very much under development at this particular stage, as indicated by the fact that this is 0.90 beta. And I have already experienced a couple of bugs and some crashes. I've almost beaten the game once, and then the file corrupted and I couldn't finish it. I've also been defeated a couple of times already, so I know how the game works, more or less. But I have yet to come up with a winning strategy, I suppose. Now, as the game is still, well, aggressively being developed, I almost say, because it's getting almost daily updates. Some things may change in between as to what I've seen already and what is currently in the game. But let's start with an opening cutscene, I suppose. Basically why I'm showing this now, because when I tried to record this game, it turns out it's not quite in the game anymore. But in the current version, it's still available. Version 1.
In Basenji today, there is a mood of jubilation as thousands crowd the streets in celebration. The first ever democratic election in the People's Republic of Basenji is a success. 5 years ago, the monarchy was replaced by a transitional government. And now, finally, after great struggle, democracy has come to Basenji. For the first time in their turbulent history, both Basenji and ethnic Karifi are voting for a government of their choice. 12 political parties campaigned, representing a wide political spectrum, with the largest, the Basenji Nationalist Party, sweeping the election with 72% of the vote.
Good morning, Your Excellency. My name is Sabriya. I have been assigned as your political strategist.
And I am Yusuf. I will be serving as your military attaché.
The first task before you is to appoint cabinet roles for representatives from across our great nation.
These are critical positions. Once appointed, cabinet members are constitutionally protected. They cannot be removed from office.
Indeed. You will be stuck with these ministers, for better or worse. I would advise you listen to their needs.
And I say look for loyalty. There will be hard days ahead. We will need a cabinet that is on our side, no matter what.
Ooh, ominous. Right, so let's set up a new game. Alright, let's just teach me how to play. That particular interface is new, like I said, so I don't need advice or help. I don't want a gentle start. The storyline is fine. News updates can play. I'll turn these subtitles on just in case whatever they're saying is not quite clear. I am 95% sure about the sound settings, so just in case something's either too loud or too soft, let me know. I'll try to accommodate as we go. Although admittedly the first 5 episodes I will not be able to change that because batch recording. Anyway, as for the other options, your ministers can be either more or less demanding. Public can be more or less demanding. Geography can be completely skewed against you. We'll just leave it the difficulty 100% eventually. Foreign relations can be harder. Rebellion can be insurmountable. You can either have no population to work with, and economics can be completely bugged. Or you can have no idea what's going on in your country. Now, you can turn pandemics off, if only that were an option in the real world. We have the electrophobia mode. I think that's how you say it. In case you don't want to have to deal with any chickens. This will become more obvious as you start playing. Or sex. How do you pronounce the PH in this one? Sex. Yeah. Stop lisping if I try that. If you're afraid of murder hornets, you can turn them off. I've not encountered those before, so I don't know how bad they can be, but you know, it's an option. Let's start. Now, this is where that cutscene I showed you before used to play. I'm thinking that probably changing that. I will skip that and get back to picking our ministers. Now, originally you don't see all of this. You just get to pick out of these four: Ministry of Development, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Finance, and Ministry of Natural Resources. I'm guessing because I've already played through a couple of games that I've already unlocked the rest of these, or at least I can fill them if I want to. At the start, I do recommend you stick to these four on this one, because you need to be able to get control of your natural resources, and you need your development to be available. Defense is useful for usual things, because you need to defend yourself from rebels. And the Ministry of Finance, you're gonna be broke for a lot of the first part of the game. Now, below here are our ministers. They have preferences as to which office they will want to hold. It's up to you to decide whether or not they are worth picking in that one. They usually have an upside and a downside. Like for instance, Aziz Al-Kamali is frugal, so he reduces the construction costs of buildings related to his ministry. But he's also cunning. So he will sometimes change policies in his ministry, even if you don't tell him to. Then we have Nur al-Hadi, who's pious, starting with 3 favor points, which is a type of currency you use to upgrade certain things, as well as sometimes get ministers to do what you want them to do rather than what they want to do. But she's tactless. He will make all the ministers upset over time. Now, Nadar Adad is inspiring, allowing you to upgrade your civilian units for free. But you can die any moment, and that can be very annoying. Then we have Adnan Bilal, who is resourceful and gets extra options whenever something something to do with his ministry comes up as a decision. But he's also a moron who doesn't research anywhere near as fast. Then we have Karim Suleiman, who is popular, and his home province of I know which province it is, but I just can't think of the name at the moment. But anyway, they like him, so they will be happy with you. He's selfish, so if we fail to do any of his requests because ignoring is not really what you do, he'll get no more upset. Then Madiha Nazar, Again, I'm guessing at how you pronounce these names, so philanthropist. Her ministry operates with 0 cost, which sounds amazing. But she's also an addict. So occasionally she will disappear from her frame in the ministry and you can't do anything with it, particularly. Her ministry still operates with 0 cost though, I think. And then we have Tariq Badur, who's a maverick. Now, he seems to only have a downside. That's not entirely true here. Because he steals a little bit of money from the treasury every now and then, which is partially why he wants to be Minister of Finance. But he's also a Karifi, which means that Karifi citizens of Basenji are going to be slightly less upset with you. Alright, let's start picking up something. Now, I think I want a dad on the Ministry of Natural Resources. I kind of would like her on Ministry of Development, but she doesn't want to go there. So I'm not going to. Instead, I'll put you in there. Now, he is a criminal, so we may get some trouble with that. Well, since you want it so much, you can be Minister of Finance. Losing a few coins here and there is not that big a problem. And Sudaman can be Minister of Defense. I'm not saying that this is the best choice. That's entirely up to you. But this is what I'm picking for this one. And here we are, Basenji. This screen has changed a little bit. So I have to kind of figure out where everything is, where I used to think. Alright. See, there were some buttons over here that have now relocated over here, which is fine. So Basenji currently is producing no food of his own. That's why we have got several UN camps in here. The civil war has devastated the road network a bit, which is why we don't have any connections to our neighbors. And we also have no power. Now, that's actually intentional because that's kind of how the game teaches you how to do stuff. Because we do have a power plant over here. Over here. Buildings look a little bit similar, but not that similar. Anyway, we have a power plant that runs on oil, and we have an oil refinery here that needs to be connected to the power plant. So we want to build a road. Now, roads are a little bit magnetic in that way. So there we go. Now, you do need a action point to build to initially build a road. But once you've done that, you can freely build roads the entire round as needed. Now we are starting with a very fertile Basenji by the looks of things. But that doesn't bring us to bacon. We need to go to the palace and hire a resource surveyor.
Excellency?
Right, so now we see potential places for resources. So, because of who I put in charge of the Department of Natural Resources, we've already got an upgraded surveyor, which I can upgrade again, using a favor point from Nadar Adad. So now he travels through mountains really, really quickly, which is fine. You move over there. And yeah, he can't quite survey. I could move him further along to get something more out of him, but that's not what I want to do. Now, we have got the home of the province of, actually zoom out a bit. We have got the province of Banifa, that's where our capital is. We have the province of Saba, the province of Karik, province of Karif, and the province of Rumai. Again, guessing at the pronunciations, but I think that's how it's said. Each of them have different population demographics that you need to keep in mind. Now, right now, everyone is kind of just wanting the UN to go away because They are interfering with our normal way of life. But they are also the only ones providing us any food. For a more in detail glance at what you need to do in a province, you can look at these metrics. You can just scroll through them. You see here where it's trending towards and what's going on. Since we are basically not providing enough supplies to the budget, essentially everything is starting to trend down a bit. But overall, nothing too bad happening in Banifa. In Karik, they are dipping quite badly. If they get to 3, then people start protesting. If they dip below that, you have a chance of getting some rebels. I think, again. But this is just what I can determine it. Now, Saba is the only one that really has a big problem, as in their health is too low. You get a little bit of a grace period at the start of the game, but I do need to look after this quite quickly. Also need to do something about the environment, prosperity, or entertainment rather. Well, prosperity also needs to happen, but that's easily solved by getting rid of the union camps. Karif is currently okay, but we have 2 things trending towards the 3. That's not good. And Rumai is also having a bit of a prosperity problem and a entertainment problem. But other than that, it looks like everything else is trending up. Right. We have got plenty of cash in the bag, but we should still do something. Now, the easiest way to solve our problem is to get an agricultural field. We can only plant these on any of the green bits of land, for obvious reasons, and it improves our standing with ruler or population. Now, according to the description, Rumai is not Karif is rural, I think. Yeah, it is rural, liberal, and very religious. And Baba is also rural. So, if we want to improve things, probably in our best interest to put any farms in either Karif or Saba. Now, we don't have infinite amounts of action points, and each building that we put down is another action point. So I'm gonna put one down here near Maradan. This costs us some workers, but Saba currently still has enough. Not very entirely sure how to read this particular amount of workers that's labeled here. Because you don't want to dip below 0, because that essentially means that you will not be able to get your buildings to operate efficiently. But as it stands right here, that looks to me like there's a lot of unemployment, and that's also not good. Now, we already know that there's a health crisis in Saba, so putting a regional hospital here is not a bad idea. And I could upgrade it for another 50 points and another favor from the Minister of Development. You know what? That's worth it to me. Now, before I close the round, I need to tell my ministers which policies to develop. Since I currently need money above anything else, I'm gonna tell him to develop toll roads. You can unlock solar power. I want recon training. And you give me offshore banking. Now, if I had any action points left, I could tell them to switch over policies, but currently I do not, and I don't really have a need to do anything. By the way, this can also go into the other ministries that currently do not have a minister assigned to them, and change the policies that are here, just in case I need to. But obviously these Ministries will work more effectively once you have a minister in it. Anyway, let's end turn. Next time. Thank you all for watching. See you then.